So Republican lawmakers are now getting upset at President Biden for signing a new executive order that would actually allocate billions of dollars towards a new stimulus relief program for the people. President Biden is now criticizing Senate Democrat Manchin for not making the Build Back Better bill his top priority. Republican lawmakers are now getting upset at President Biden for signing executive orders that would allocate billions of dollars towards a new stimulus relief program, all for the people though. And President Biden has now accused Manchin of West Virginia for his backpedaling his support on his economic agenda during a critical meeting. The high-stakes meeting came as the pair negotiated on Biden's $2 trillion Build Back Better spending plan. President Biden has criticized Joe Manchin for backtracking from an earlier pledge he made to support the massive spending package. Senate Democrats intend to try once more to win over Manchin on a smaller spending bill focused on cutting prescription costs, reducing the deficit, and stepping up taxes on the wealthiest Americans. Manchin has floated a new deadline to pass the bill. Biden has told reporters that he believes Congress can pass some big chunks of his sweeping social safety net and climate spending plan as soon as this month. The president acknowledged that passing his other legislative priority voting reform will be difficult. Still, he insisted that Democrats have options to get it passed. During a news conference, Biden said it's going to be difficult. I make no bones about that, and it's going to be difficult, but we're not there yet. What are your thoughts on the current status of the Build Back Better? And I think President Biden can actually get his job done and send out more stimulus checks this year. It's definitely possible. During an interview with Mitch McConnell said, "I think this country ought to remind the people that we all pay our debts." McConnell was likely referring to last week President Biden extended a pause on student loan payments with waived interest through August 31st. It's the fourth time he's extended while in office and first implemented by the former president as a form crisis of relief. The pause was intended to give federal borrowers financial breathing room as they dealt with the crisis, while Biden answered the calls of many Democratic lawmakers who were pushing for another extension. Republicans argued that with inflation on the rise, continuing to pause payments would only hurt taxpayers and the economy, criticizing broad relief measures.
The gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Heisinger, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and Secretary Yellen, good to have you back here in person and to see you again. I'm very, very briefly, don't filibuster me on this one, please. But last time you appeared here with Chair Powell, you had claimed you felt inflation was, at that point, transitory. Do you still believe that today?
So,
very short, please.
I think when I use the word transitory, I was thinking that it's related to the pandemic, and that when the pandemic goes away, that will make a big difference.
Do you still believe it's transitory?
I believe that the pandemic, unfortunately, has been and will be longer lasting than I anticipated.
So you still, basically you're saying the pandemic is still happening, therefore that's why we're still seeing inflation.
Well, I think that's one of the contributors to it.
Okay. All right. So let me get into the meat of what we need to talk about here about what's happening in international situations. I am pleased, and Madam Chair, thank you for including my legislation and 16 bills that were actually noticed for this hearing today. And I had a bill, the Russian Sovereign Debt Prohibition Act, which was noticed. And this bill would simply prohibit U.S. financial institutions from financing Russian sovereign debt, regardless of the date a bond was issued, extending the Biden administration's current restrictions on new bonds that are being issued. I know that it was supposed to be considered in the March markup. Something happened and somehow it fell off. We have a committee, I think, are trying to do everything we can to tighten those restrictions. And I respectfully ask that the chairwoman include that legislation in the next package of bills that we might consider. Yesterday, I reintroduced another bill that I had had previously called the No U.S. Financing for Iran Act, a bill that would effectively prevent U.S. financial